Yes. So today we'll be working with pandas. Working with pandas. So pandas is a library in Python that's been written by other developers, and all we have to do is to work with the methods that are in it, just as the name implies. So a method helps you to do something like get things done. You can call a method and let's say you want to do like maybe sum of a column. You have values in a column and you want to know the sum. You can just call a method that helps you to do this sum of values inside that column. So there are two major objects that I want us to take note of in pandas: the series and the data frame. So think of series as just like a column in your Excel file. Think of data frame like a table, like a spreadsheet, basically rows and columns. So I gave a link to download sales data from Kaggle, and I have downloaded it. I have it saved on my desktop in a folder named sample. So first thing first, to use pandas, we have to import it. So I'm going to write out my import statement. So I'm going to write out import pandas as. So this as is just like an alias, but usually if you check the documentation, you will see it's common to use import pandas as PD. So I'll run this line. This is why we are using Jupyter, so we can run our code line by line. So now this means I've been able to call the pandas library. So with just this line of code, import pandas at PD. So if you decide to name it anything else, it will still work. But then it's more like standard convention to use PD. So the next thing we want to do now is, and now that I've been able to bring in pandas library, I want to bring in the data I want to work with. So when you were asking me what data, so it was at this point. So DF, you remember in our first class we explored data types, variable. So this is a variable. I name it DF. DF is just like short form for data frame. You can name it anything you want to name it, but then I'll use DF.
Sorry, please. I tried to run what you just said, import pandas as PD, but it's giving me
Error.
module not found error.
Yes, you've
Yes.
not installed it, so you have to install it. So we'll do that
Is,
after this class so that we would not.
okay. Is it also an extension?
It's not an extension.
Okay.
You will install it. Yes, you install it later.
Um,
It's not an
all right.
extension from VS Code Marketplace. I know what you mean from here, right? From this
Yes.
extension,
Yes.
you
Uh,
will install it here. You install it.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. So what was I saying? Okay, so we want to bring in the data into want to bring it in and save it to DF. Yes. So all you just do is so DF here, I'm saying that DF is a variable name. DF, it's a variable name. So I'm saying DF equals to PD. So when I call PD, we've already done the first line, import pandas as PD. So I'm calling on pandas library, and I am also now um using the method read.csv. So one thing I want us to take note of is that once you see this um dot, and then when you see dot, maybe a name, maybe like sum or min, you are calling you are calling a method, you are calling a function that performs something, that performs an operation. So I'm using this to read my CSV file. If it's just an Excel file, I'm going to do read Excel. But then this is CSV, so I'm using read CSV. So this is read underscore CSV. So this is the location of this file on my desktop. So if you go to the particular location, you can check properties to copy the file path. So usually I have to use double backslash so that I can read the thing. And then my sales data ends with CSV. So that's what I'm calling it. So this is go to users, go into, okay, now this is go into users, go to HP, go to desktop, go to a folder named sample. So this is a folder, and inside it, read this file for me. So now that I've done that, so I'm going to create a new line here. So let me run this, because if you don't run it and I try to access DF, it's going to throw me an error. So now I've been able to bring in these data that I downloaded. So now to check it, so in pandas you can use the .ed method. So by default .ed returns the first 5 rows. I'm going to do df, so I'm going to print. We talked about the print statement in the last class also. Print function, it helps you to display, more like return the output of what you are doing. So if I say print df.ed, remember that df here is a variable name, and inside this variable I have my sales data. I passed in my sales data. I was able to read it in using the help of pandas PD. This is a module, and then this is why it's actually good to have what's called VS Code. You can see that the intelligence is even giving you so much information about what this is doing. So I'm calling this function read CSV. So like I said earlier, pandas is a library that someone else has written, developers have already written. Inside of it, there are functions that I can use, there are methods I can call. One of it is this read CSV. So all I just have to do is to do the dot and call the name of the function. And what is the function doing? The function is taking a parameter, it's taking the location of this data I downloaded, and it's going to bring it in. So now I'm trying to check the output. Now I said first 5 rows, yes. So remember in our last class I mentioned that we talked about indexing. So index here starts from index 0, index 1, 2, 3 to 4. So I said it returns 5 rows. It's actually 5 rows, but then if you count it using the index, you see them is 0 to 4. So now I can see that my data as order number, quantity, price. It's just to have an a look at the data, just to like understand what kind of data do I have. But looking at this, you can see this line here is showing new line. There are other columns, so it means I have more than 5 here. This is not 5 oh. I still have other date, status, QTR ID, month ID, year ID. So let's check now. So let's say I want to check the I want to have a summary of my data. How many columns do I have? How many rows do I have? There's also another method to get that done. So let me clear this line so that my code is readable. So there's another method. Okay. I've listed some method here, info, describe. We'll work with all this, but let's check how many rows and columns I have. So a method that does that is the shape. So I'll just do df.shape. So df.shape gives me the summary. So it's telling me that, so think of this as x and y. The way we do x is y axis, y is um x is horizontal axis rather, y is the vertical axis. So the horizontal axis is xy. So it means here I have 25 columns, the vertical axis 25, and the number of rows, which are what I refer to as my x axis, is 2823. That's 20. That's sorry, 2,823 rows of data, 25 columns. So you get, so it means that with pandas now I'm being able to like get a snapshot of my data. Now I know that I was able to check my df.ed. I saw some column names. I was able to check my shape. I was able to see that, oh, this this data set is made up of more than 2,000 rows, 25 columns. So the next thing, let's say I want to check the info. I want to see more information about my data. I want to see check info. So one thing is that this is how these methods are written. So as time goes on, when you work with them, you get used to it, and you don't have to cram. So I'm seeing other number. These are the columns: quantity, price, sales, status, city, postal code, up to 25. But come started with index 0, you see 24 here. The data types: DT, float, integer. We talked about data type in the last class. Not null means that there's actually value inside all of this. So another thing that this does is that if I have 2,800, let's say 2,823 rows, and I am saying for column 1 other number, I am saying that 2823 is not null. It means that I don't have any missing value here. So this is another method I can easily use to detect if you have missing values in your data. So if I have, just like let's say I have a row of data, just like what we are looking at right now. If I'm seeing these are the numbers are actually not null, it means it's complete. Look at this address line, 302 are the ones that are not null. What about the others? What happened? So it means the others are null. So now I can know that here now there's some missing data here. So this one just gives you an overview of information about your data. So let me clear that. So this brings us to, so at the beginning of this, what's it called? Okay, yes. So I've been able to itemize what we want to do with pandas. We want to explore the structure and the content of sales data, and that's what we've been doing. Like I mentioned, first thing first, you have to import pandas into your notebook, because that's what we want to work with. Then the next thing is to bring in the data. But then pandas allows us to read in our data and create it as a table. That's what the pandas PD is doing there. So I've been able to read the CSV file in and create a table with it. And I can access it using methods such as the .ed, .shape, .info, .describe. Are you still with me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay, I'm sure I'm not talking to myself. Yes. So this is just us trying to achieve item one, checking the structure, the content of sales data. So now that I know that it's sales data, okay, I might want to check what are the years in it. You want to ask questions, so you want to understand your data. Data for what? For what exactly? What kind of data is this? What kind of products are here? What are the years? Like from how many years? Okay, this is data for sales for a particular product for 5 years, for 6 years. So Pandas has a method that can help us achieve all that easily. So let's do so we're able to do describe dot add and also let me look at the columns in it again. So dot add, yeah. So I have order number, and usually order number is more like a unique ID that is generated for each order. Then there's quantity order, there's price for what? Order line, there's sales. Okay, yeah. So usually sales is usually quantity ordered multiplied by price. We can check this on our calculator. We should get this should be the multiplication of this column here, quantity ordered um, by price. That's the sales. Then order date. Okay, this means the date it was ordered. The status, has it been shipped or not? Has it been da da da? Then the years and all. So let's say I want to do okay, let me take note of let me pick a column name here. Okay, okay, so let's go down. Okay, so let's say I want to do um so to access I'm trying to access a column in um inside this data frame that we had created already. So I'm going to call df, then the column name. This is how it is done in Panda. So as we practice more, we'll get used to it. So df, so let's say I check the okay, I copied one, control paste status. Okay, let's use value count. So value count is also another method again. So what this does like is like summarize the content of that column. We'll see this in action now. So let's say what's inside this column status, what's inside, the values are inside it, and how many times do they appear. So this is what value count does. So I'll just so when Jupyter when you're what's it called when you're having suggestion like this and you want to just use the exact one, you can just click on the tab key and then it pops up. So you can see. So finally, I know that inside the status column, I have values such as the shipped, cancelled, resolved, on hold, in process, and the last one here, disputed. And I can see that for shipped appeared 2,617 times, meaning that majority of the items that were actually shipped. So it gives me an overview of what's inside my column, so I can use value count for that. So let's go like another categorical column, so I can check the unique value in it. So there's also a method that allows you check unique value. So let me run through my head again. You can see that this head is important. But one thing is that for this head, we can also specify if I want 10 rows, you can specify in it. But by default, if you just run, you can see the comment that the intelligence is bringing up for me. So this displays the first 10 rows. Let me change it to 15. Ah, it's not commenting it for me. I wanted that comment to change again. Okay, but then if you do 15, it's going to bring the first 15 rows. So let's just do the first 10 rows. Oh, 10. Okay, that was a suggestion again. So this is us. We are still trying to explore the data set to understand the structure. So I have year. Okay, so year ID. I can even use value count again for this year ID. So I can see the years that are in this column. I can also use unique anyways, just like the way we do it in Excel. So just think of pandas as the way we do um we work with data on Excel. Now you are using the same method, but now we are using it in Python, but we are using the help of a library called pandas to achieve the same thing. But then it's faster. There are times that Excel has limitation. There was a time I needed to output about up to like 4 million rows, and I wanted it to be in a workbook. So I had to break each one down to like I think it was just 2 million. Anyways, I had to break it down to like 400,000 per sheet, and then I was able to use it was pandas too. Yeah, I was able to use Python to break it down and export it into my Excel file. And I was able to send the file. So it's actually very, very good to know how to use Python. So there are some things that there might be some limitations doing it on Excel. You do it faster and easier on using Python, and you can only do that using a library that allows for data manipulation. Okay. So now I've checked all okay, I've checked I said I wanted to check year. So let's go to year. So let me just create a new column. Let me clear this again. It is year ID. Let me copy out year ID. Control copy. Okay, let me clear this. Clear another new line. So let's say I want to access a column named. You can see that we are putting these column names in single quotes. Remember when we were discussing data types, when we talked about string? Yes, it was string. So this is the name of a column. If I don't put it in quotes, I am telling Python that I want to access a variable, and I did not declare any variable as EID. So it will even give me error. EID. Don't mind this suggestion. Oh. You can see these yellow lines already. So it won't work. So I'm calling a column name. So I'm going to put it in quotes. I'm calling a column year ID just because I want to see how many years are in my data set. This is how it was written. I think so. Year ID dot unique. Can we see it? So I only have 2003, 4, and 5 inside my data set, just 3 years. So I've gotten that. So you see, so imagine if you are using Excel now and then it's more than 2000 rows. Okay, you can click on the arrow down and check anyways. But then this is just like with just one line of code, I can check, oh, these are the years, these are the years I have in my data set. So I think to an extent we already understand what this data entails. But one more thing, what kind of data? What are they selling? So let me check again. Where's my dot head? Okay, 10 is too much. So let me just take this out. By default, it returns 5, like I said. Oh, so another thing is that we checked before. We had 25 columns here, but I can't see everything from here. So there's another method that can help us check the columns are in this data set in pandas again. So let me just do df dot columns. So these are the columns. So from here now I can see the column name. So I have, at a glance, I have order number, I have quantity ordered, I have price, order number, sales. So I'm looking for something that can probably describe the product, something related to product. Yes, product line. Okay. And the next thing is that if I can see product line here, I want to see what's inside product line. What are the unique product? There's product code. There's product code are, as the name implies, unique code for each product. So just two things are speaking to products. Okay, there's deal size. Okay, product line and product code. So let me clear this again. Let me copy this out and let's check what's inside column product line. So clearing the output again. So I'll do df. Okay, thank you for your suggestion. Okay, so you can see. So we have motorcycles, we have classic class, trucks, vintage, plain, and shipped. So if I want to have a summary of how many items in this data set, so since these are the product line that were sold, so I want to check like in summary over the course of the 3 years that of data that I have, I want to see how many the count of motorcycle that was sold, classic cars, and all of that at once. So we also have, I'm going to use the method value count again to get summarize that. So I will do df square bracket product line, oh sorry, product, I don't type it, yes, sorry, single quote dot value count. Okay, okay, this is telling me that I can even use more method. I can decide to sort it to check. Well, let's just do a summary first. Yes, so classic cars is number one here, vintage, motorcycles, plain. So these are the products that are sold. So another thing we want to do, let's go back to the focus. So we've been able to explore the structure, the content. Now we know that, oh, they are into cars, motorcycles, and the likes. So now, okay, now the next thing is that let's say we want to check total sales, or what's total sales for each product, or we want to check for a particular year what's total sales. So those are like the simple analysis that you probably want to do. So it means that remember that we have a column called sales. If I want to do just to have a sum of these sales, so that includes all the year because we did not specify. So we can just do, okay, let me say now, and I've named it DF data frame. You can see variable. This is the name. So the essence of creating a variable is that you can always call it anytime you need it in my code. So now I'm coming down here, I'm calling it again. I'm saying, oh, data frame, this data frame will give me this column called sales, and the only way we can access it is by using square brackets in single quotes. So I'm saying give me this column named sales, and now I'm now calling method sum again. So normally I could have done something like this. So I could have done um in quotes, this is the total sales. So what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to now pass in, okay, this is total sales, and I want to pass in total sales here. Okay, let me auto complete it. Sorry, let's comment this out. You can comment out by using your control sorry, shift, rather shift 3. You can comment out a full code by using control backslash total sales. But if you want to just like a way of outputting this, these two will give me the same thing. Okay, let me comment out this. I don't know if I'm overloading you right now, but it's just good that we know this also. Total sales. So this one directly just picks the value of total sales here. This is what this is doing. And the only reason why I can use F here, the F allows me to call this variable here inside this curly bracket. Like give me, just pick the value of this and return it like this. Either way, the two works. So total sales is this, or hello? Can we see the difference?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, yes. So I was just trying to
Yes.
ensure that we can see him. Yes. So now I added the F to it. So this F string format allows you to combine both the text and the variable, and is able to, you're able to access the value inside the variable inside by the time you run your print statements. Yes. So basically that's that. So now my total sales over the 'cause this is for 3 years because we're able to identify that the year ID column contains 2020 no 2003 down to 2005. Okay, yes, this is it. Okay. So let's say I want to check sales for each year. Can also do that using Panda. So let me just clear the output of this again and over on it and click on code. Then let's say I want to do um yearly. So remember that I said the essence of comments is so that you can read, you can understand what you have done, you can come back to it, and then Python ignores the comment when it's running your output. You will see that most times your comment does not return with your output. So yearly sales. Ha. Can you see this intelligence already giving us everything? So yearly sales. So I'll just click on the tab. Okay. So now this brings us to another method called group by. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating a variable named yearly sales. Like we explained earlier, if you want to create a variable, all you have to do is just give it a name, call equals to, you assign value to it. You created a variable, but then it has to be of okay, a defined data type. But now this what I have here, I'm passing everything into a variable yearly sales, so I can access it by just calling yearly sales. So what I've done here is that this is my data frame, fine. So I'm calling on method group by. I'm saying group by is also a method, a function. You can use those names interchangeably. So sometimes I say function, I say method. But most times when you create a method usually belongs to like a class. So yeah, let's call it we can call it method, can call it function. You might want to read more on that on your own, but don't get confused. Okay, so I'm using method group by to access. I'm taking a parameter year ID. So what I'm saying is that go into this data frame. And remember this data frame, we've created it like a table somewhere, like rows and columns somewhere. So I'm grouping whatever output I want to pick here by year ID. So for each year ID, whatever I want to pick, I want to group it by for each year. We have year column. So it means that I'm calling on 2003, 2004, 2005. Now I am for each of those year, I'm picking sales from my sales column from my data frame, and I am also calculating the sum. So just read it like this. So sales, so what I'm doing here is that sales dot sum. So first of all, I sum up all the values inside my sales column and I'm grouping it by year ID. That's all that we are doing here. Do we get that? Okay, let me type it again so that we can. But then it's the intelligence will auto complete it again. Yearly sales equals to I call this data frame. Then I'm using the group by method for each year. What I'm saying here is that for each year ID, this is a column in my data set. For each year, I want to check the sales, the sum of the sales. So I'm going to call sales, and because I want to do the sum, I'm going to call method sum. So everything just boils down to you getting familiar with the methods that you can use in pandas and knowing how exactly to use it. That's all. So now I'm coming to a new line. I'm going to do print the, or you can just say, because I want to pass in the value of variable yearly sales, so I'll use the f string again. I'll just say yearly sales. Sorry, that was a mistake. Then I'll just use a curly bracket to call that variable name so that it can return the value. So let's run that. So now we've been able to return a summary of the sales by year. So that I know that in 2003, okay, I have about 3.5 million. They didn't specify the if it is in naira or in pounds. So that's another thing. That's this it still boils down to understanding the data we are working with. Then 2004, this is about 4.7 million. Then 2005, this is 1.7. So another thing now is that you can also sort this so that you can have the highest one. You can sort it. So by just looking at it, you can just say that, oh, this is the highest, what's it called? This is the highest um value. This is the year with the highest sales. So sort value is another method. So you can see that all I'm just doing is calling on these methods. So I'm going to use method sort values. Okay, another notification. Okay, okay. Yeah, so that it is readable, right? Okay. Yes. But the way it is right now, let's check the data type for sales. Let's check data type. So it depends on these are what we have here. Let me check data type. Clear. So our meeting is ending in like 2 minutes. Hmm. So oh sorry. Okay, float. Okay, is my meeting still on?